Okay, great. So we can start. Look at the faces. So hello. With this amazing mood, we start today's discussion. So it's a third one we have. We have in general, we have had in like 3 years, I think, and each time we have a different topic. And this time, me, Julia, and Simona will lead the discussion on profit share together. And as always, we have our guest Sharunas, our CEO, to share his insights and answers to the relevant questions representing company's position and his own vision. And we have Rokas, our team lead. We expect from him to get practical insights on how the profit share actually works and insights on how it should be going and how team leads or developers should approach it and what to think and so on. And we have a very special guest, Elise, today with us that came from Helmes. She is a Helmes partner, and it's quite some time with Helmes. As we talked, it's 15 years, so she has seen a lot of Helmes, a lot of profit share. So we expect to get the experience, the cases, the challenges, and the solutions maybe even, and what she notices and what she noticed about the profit share and how it could go. So we have 3 very different experiences, and we have questions about certain topics that we aggregated and got from the questions and notes that you left on happiness survey and the questionnaire a week before this event that I announced. And we also had the meeting with team leads to see what they raise as issue questions or sensitive topics. So we wanted to gather as much as possible and to prepare so we would fit into 1 hour or 1 hour and a bit more. And Simona will introduce the topics that we're going to cover.
So from the questions which were gathered, we have a topics which we want to cover today. So we have the competition, the equality in the profit share distribution, the impact of the profit share system on team finances, and opportunities to get a profit share. So all these topics are going to be covered today during this discussion.
And I was thinking how to start this discussion, from where to start. And one of the questions was basically quite good, asked about the basics and the start of the business units. What was the logic behind client distribution to business units? Could it have been done differently, and why not? Because profit share depends on business units, where you are, in which business unit, in which team. So could you give some background, Sharunas? What was the logic?
So as you remember, we tried to do the switch from the old structure to the new structure in one go. So we didn't do it gradually. All the organization transitioned at once. So what we had to do, we had to announce new roles, which is business unit leads, and we had all the accounts that we had at that time, and we had to decide how to distribute them among the account managers at that time and the future business area leads. So we had a meeting. At that time it was Vilius who was leading account managers. It was Vaida, it was Nerijus. So all the key people, we sat together and we engineered and decided how this should be done. And then of course we presented this as an offer to the future business unit leads, and they accepted it. And then we went on with a new structure and this distribution.
And what was the logic? For what were the criteria that one account moved to one person, like one business unit or another one?
So it was not a single logic point. There were different aspects. So with some accounts, some business unit leads have been working before. Some of them matched together because of the technology stack or maybe some other reasons. Some accounts, some of the business unit leads were more senior, some of them were just starting the position. So some accounts are more difficult and some of them are more easy. So this was so it was multiple aspects, and each special case was analyzed and decided at that point. But at the same time, I think the distribution only happened between the accounts and the business unit leads. But all the people, all the team members, if you remember, everybody stayed where, so we didn't redistribute the structure itself below the business unit leads level. So everybody worked in the accounts and in the projects that they have been working for before. So only the way we draw the lines around each business unit that we did at that distribution point.
And do you think it could have been done differently now, looking back?
Of course, every time you can do things differently, but I think it was done quite well. And I don't see that we distributed it somehow wrongly at the moment. I don't think like that.
And I have other one for Elise. It's kind of dedicated for you. Could you tell more about the journey of the profit share creation within the Helmes and the implementation? So how the journey went and how it was implemented in the Helmes?
Yeah, we started with it around like 14 years ago or so. And actually in Helmes, people were divided a little bit differently. Like here in TeleSoftas, we had specialists. We had like a resource pools. We had a Java resource pool, we had a PHP resource pool, .NET resource pool, and project managers resource pool, and analyst resource pool. And what we experienced, and maybe one of the reasons why we did it, was that at first we did not the profit share, but we wanted to put the people in the teams because we wanted to connect the leaders with the people, like project managers together with the people. But if you talk from the profit perspective, then what happened to us was, and it was a long time ago, was that quite often these resource pools were inside the minuses, but the project managers were also kind of like a business unit. The projects were on the pluses, and we already had some profit share. So the project manager were making profits. And also they sometimes distributed profits for some people inside the resource pools. But resource pools as such were in the minus because people were not fully utilized inside the resource pool. So quite often it happened that company was in the minus, but somebody was making bonus, and especially the project managers, all the money was left in the project manager's resource pool, but the cost that was not unutilized was left on the resource pool.
And do these research pools are something like our communities that we used to have, technological communities?
Yeah.
I think it is similar, and the problematics were very similar because in the platform teams nobody knew. They had no clue about the profitability or how they're doing. And for example, I think the similar in Helmes, to manage at that point, to manage bench and unutilized people was the biggest problem, and this is one of the driving reasons to move to this new structure.
Yeah, and we also had exactly for maybe half a year, one person, for example, developer, was working 6 hours a day for the customer, and 2 was left to the resource pool. Yeah, so it was kind of like it was financially it didn't play out, and it actually it was and at the same time some people made profit. Like so the profit was not the people were not connected to their results. I would put it like this.
And coming back to Šarūnas, why we did the profit share?
Why we did the profit share? So first of all, I always thought, so I think when we met Helmes, there were even more justifications, but my initial idea why I wanted to have profit share, because we are competing as a company, as TeleSoftas, with lots of product companies here. And product companies, they are offering actually they're offering in advance the share options and stuff like that, and usually people when people leave TeleSoftas and go to another company, they are offered and given the shares, which is a promise. If the product succeed, maybe they will get the profit share from that. And I thought how to compete with this, and I think giving profit share right now without waiting for some success, because we're doing it quarterly, I think this is an answer to the market, and also I think it's fair. Like we are all developers in the same market. Why shouldn't TeleSoftas people also be eligible for that? And I think this mechanism has 2 key elements. So it connects, as Elise said, people to the results and makes everybody more aware what is happening. And how to contribute, and everybody is more interested. And at the same time, the reward system is there that I wanted to have and be competitive in the market.
Maybe I can add, because I explained how we did it in Helmes, but maybe the main question is why we did it. And maybe to share a little bit the background is that founder of Helmes, Jaan Pillesaar, he had a very strong belief that he wants to gather very entrepreneurial people around him, and he really wanted to share profit. He didn't want to give away the shares of the company in the beginning, but it was like, and his dream was that if I gather a lot of entrepreneurial people around me, then I want to share what we make. I want them to make part of it. And it was not only about the team leaders, it was about every single person in the company. And actually now it has changed a little bit, but when we started out with it, he also, together with this profit share, he also had a very strong belief that everybody should join with the salary below the market average, maybe 20–30% below the market average, because they are entitled to the profit share. In the very large scale, it did not work like this, but in the small scale, in the beginning, it really worked, and it was possible to do it. But we will probably touch this topic later.
And you already mentioned the competition, external competition with other companies, what to offer to your own employees. And we have a competition topic in here as well. And one observation from the happiness survey, that profit share might create a competition between business unit leads or teams, or encourage different or difficult or bad feelings even within the team and team members who don't get the profit share. So question to Rokas. From your experience, how to deal with that competition in the team, between team members? So have you have any insights on that?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say that healthy competition in company and the teams is a very good thing, in my opinion, because that's what motivates people to go forward, to try harder, to do more extra stuff, because if they are competing in the healthy way, that's a really good, that would move the company forward. And I believe that in TeleSoftas, we don't have any unhealthy competition where we try to make others look worse for our own goods, and maybe do some bad things for other teams because we want to get a better client or better profit share or whatever. So I think to have a competition, it's okay. However, saying that, I don't think that we have a lot of it. I don't see developers or teams competing for the same client. I don't see developers competing for the same resources or the same projects, because now when Sharuna shares the numbers, we only see the competition in the numbers. Oh, one business unit is more competitive than another, and that's it. But we don't do that daily. So I don't think that we have a lot of competition. And the one that we have, I think that motivates people to move forward or to try harder. Yeah, and the cases when it demotivates, there's also one part that profit share in TeleSoftas is a really young thing. We started that like a year and a bit ago, and as Elise said, Helmes started that 14 years ago. So there's still a lot of things for us to learn, many things to improve on. And I don't think that we should focus on the things that demotivates, because we are getting there. Of course, initially, it's very difficult to say everything is working perfectly. There are some things, some teams that will be unhappy. There are some people who will think that they are not getting the amount of profit share they are worth. But I strongly believe that eventually we'll go there, like in time.
But at the same time, of course, it is the level. It must be a level of demotivation if you see that many units or many teams are very profitable and having good result, and you don't, and it's couple. Of course, it is demotivating, but wouldn't it be demotivating even if we don't know? Like it is obvious. Like if it is a difficult time, it is hard, and it's normal to struggle if this is the case. So, but I wouldn't say that this is a competition. This is a difficult time that a team or a project has to overcome. But seeing that others can do in a similar situations or with a different customer, or seeing that somebody from the minus is climbing up to the plus, I think this is, on the contrary, should be motivating, you know. So it's, you know, it depends how you look, but it also, the question is it because of the competition, or is it because now you have full awareness? Because we are transparently showing how exactly it is without any additional context.
So that's probably the mood of the the mood or the heaviness of having the responsibility too. Because if you have the responsibility and it's on your shoulders, then...
Maybe I can add about the competition. I have seen the competition. Yeah. And over the years, and it's not always a healthy competition. I have seen unhealthy competition as well, but it doesn't happen too often. And usually what's the issue? Even if it is unhealthy, it can be solved quite quickly. It's usually because the people are either too junior in the position or they don't have the context. They look at all the numbers, we compare every team and some teams' profit is, I don't know, 100,000 a year, others is 10,000, or some teams are in the minus sometimes. And sometimes especially if you're in the difficult situation, either you don't have the context, you don't understand that you're too young or too immature for the context, you don't see that you can actually dig out from here, it takes time and you can come out of it, or you don't have a belief, and then you're like, why do you show the numbers, because I look so bad here, and it's kind of like, but if you become more mature, and if you know context, and if you know that you can actually work it through, and every once in a while it happens to everybody, even in Helmes, like 2 of my teams who have been top players all the time right now, this year they will suffer definitely, and it will happen even for them after 7 years, and they have to struggle out. But if it happens to you, if it's very immature in the company, and if it happens, then if the leader provides context that it's okay that it happens and you will struggle, you will get out from here, then it's,
I don't think that, or there is never a straight line for the success of every team. Like there's always ups and downs. So if some teams are in the down right now and some teams are in the up, they shouldn't look like, okay, we are competing. Like it's just the period, and like the team that is up want to focus on how to keep on the rising curve, and the team who's going down, they want to focus on how to get out of the hole. So this is, and seeing that some teams can get out of the minus should be motivating.
So we need more of these examples and more of these stories, and more talk about, to give more context. Business units need to give more context to team leads to their people, so they would be more on the same page, because sometimes it could be missing, and it's natural because we're still in the learning phase, I think, and we just need to listen to each other more.
I also want to add one more thing on this topic, on the competition between developers in the team, because I can see the risk that if someone is getting profit share and someone is not getting profit share, and the team lead is not communicating well enough why the decision was made this way or another way, people can start feeling bad feelings or start competing to each other. But I think this is the job of the team lead and business unit lead, to have to share why the decision was made this way, have concrete rules, or maybe be transparent, so no one would feel bad about, okay, that person got more than I did, why? And as soon as that answer why is answered, there will be no competition, because they will know, okay, that person did that specific task and this is why he got higher profit share. I can do that. I can be a better developer. I can do that thing that the other developer did. Why shouldn't I?
Yeah, maybe I cannot do it this year, but when I grow more mature, I can do it next year. I'm not in the role. Yeah.
And can I continue with the last question? Another type of competition between business units. Let's say a client dropped in the pipeline, either it's from marketing or from some referrals, but not received from business unit lead. So if the client or the opportunity drops in, how do you decide to which business unit the opportunity should go?
So I think that this point is the point where we can actually say that there is competition, because then it is one new lead that is being presented itself, the opportunity presents itself, and then we somehow have to decide, so which business unit lead takes it. So there is a defined set of rules how we do it, but sometimes those rules are not enough, and sometimes there is certain amount of subjectivity. But the key decision point is always who will serve that customer the best. So who has the best knowledge, who has the best capacity to take that customer. So our goal is to serve and deliver to the customer. And if he comes and if we serve him right, he will recommend us, the team will grow, and so on. So this is the main criteria. So there are in certain cases very equal, how to say, chances or eligibility to claim the lead. So then there are some times of tensions, but so far I think we are managing it. And my goal is that the business units decide between themselves, and I only try to step in when they cannot agree, and it doesn't happen often. Maybe once or twice it happened. So
at least from our business unit, I feel that we are trying to look forward, and like our business unit lead Aidas is always checking, okay, what should we do next to be on the position that if some new lead drops, we could take it. And I think if every business unit thinks this way, the company will go forward. Like they will move, they will invest in the positions that needs to be invested. And this is where, like, if our business unit is ready to take the lead, to take the new client, so we did some homework, we did some work, we took some risks, and then we have that lead. And this is reward from for our work. So I think that's also the reason why we have the healthy competition between business units, but we work on that. Like we do our homework on this.
And also, yes, there are sometimes those tough decisions, but in most of the cases, the business unit leads really decide and agree among themselves. And they say, yeah, maybe last time I took, now maybe you can take. I know that you have a bench, so it goes for. So they also talk, and it's not that they sit in the separate rooms and somehow there is a tension. So I think the process is okay. Sometimes it is tough, but in general, I'm happy, and I think we're doing a pretty good job here.
I guess it answers the question. So you touched the topic which I want to discuss right now. So it's about the profit share distribution, equality of it, and you mentioned something like some team members get more, some less. So how it can be solved, or like how it can be handled? Like, is there any good practices? So it's like I was targeting you, but maybe you could start from your own experience.
Yeah. This is quite a tough topic, because I don't think that there is a single employee or a single team that every rule will apply to everyone. Like every case is specific. But in my opinion, as long as the team lead who shares the profit share tries to be fair and open and transparent and say why I gave you this profit share and not more or less, and like communicate that to the team, those rules will be fair. At least how I do it on my team, after I share the profit share, I say without the names, without anonymously, what influenced profit share for this quarter for me. So everyone sees, okay, there is a list of things that the team did. They not necessarily know who did what, but they know that this is the things that influence my opinion. And the next quarter, they can try to do any of those lists, or maybe look to the direction and they see, okay, I haven't done anything of that, so why should I get anything? Like, or maybe they did something, but I forgot to mention, and they can come directly to me and say, hey, Rokas, I tried on that, I did a lot of effort, and you forgot to mention that. And I will keep in mind like that idea for the next quarter. I will know that, okay, person is trying. And this is just transparency in the team. Like, as long as team lead is open and transparent, I think there won't be any conflicts.
I remember when we had a discussion with team leads, it was mentioned that it's really a challenge for team lead to see everything.
Yes.
To see everything, to put notes on everything. So I think in this case, it's expected from team members, to come and to share feedback about others, to point good things, and to say, okay, we worked on this and this, to work collaboratively on this, because it's very huge responsibility to oversee everything, and it's.
And we call this kudos or karma points. You can call it whatever you want. But like, if someone does something and team lead doesn't know about that, they won't be rewarded for that, obviously. But team lead needs to know, and team lead cannot be everywhere. Like, it's just impossible. So I encourage my team to say, okay, I did that, or maybe someone else did some good task. I don't know, something good. They should give kudos to others, and as long as they know about the task or the work or maybe some initiative that person did, it will be rewarded.
maybe I could add one more. Like, since you said like we have a list, like what deserve the profit share this quarter, would you like to share this list with other team leads? Don't you get like similar requests?
I actually consider doing that. Again, this is purely for my project and for my team. It probably won't fit other teams because the opportunities are different. However, that could be used as an inspiration for other team leads as well. Yeah, exactly.
And Elise, I have a question for you. Is it normal or is it okay not to get the profit share, not to just get on the salary, work on the salary, but not to get or not to work for profit share?
Yeah, I can bring up some examples because we used to, for many, many years in Helmes, we used to communicate, when Jan was actively CEO, he communicated that every single person in Helmes gets a profit share. But actually a few years ago, when the job market got really tough, we asked him, Jan, please stop communicating it. And because, and even though we have the very same profit share model that you have here in TeleSoftas, we started to experience the thing that business was actually growing really fast and it was really difficult to hire. And quite often we had to hire people above not even market average, but maybe we had to hire a
team or Helmes average.
Yeah, exactly. And we had to hire maybe the mid-level developer with the architect salary. And in order to even get this project going, and the person was not carrying out architect role, there was already architect in the project or so on. So actually, along the interviews, we already made agreements to the person that, okay, but this salary, it's yes, we go for it, but actually you have to know it's above. And in Helmes we have a team profit share, but we will not share it with you when the salary normalizes. I know it sounds maybe weird when we talk about it, but actually it happens very naturally during the interviews. So this can be the reason why some people are not entitled to profit share, or sometimes people have very, very strong reasons themselves. They come and they say that, I don't know, they had new babies coming, or they are taking a big obligations in terms of buying a home or something, and they come and tell to the team leader that I cannot do this because can we do 1 year without the profit share and having a more increased base salary. So this has also been the case. It's not many, it's only few, but I have seen it as well. And of course, when teams are in the minus, then it's teams can be in the minus. It can happen. Of course, everybody gets their salary, but no profit share.
Okay, thank you. And Šarūnas, what do you think? At TeleSoftas, we have some people who get the profit share and some that don't get the profit share. So should we push those who don't get the profit share to receive and just route and these other ways, or we just have to leave it to themselves?
No, I think no additional pushing is needed. I think the profit share itself as a mechanism, it should motivate, and no additional push I expect here. But I think that it's okay, even besides the reasons that Elise just listed, it's okay not to get profit shares in some cases, because maybe, I don't know, you come after the paternity leave and maybe you are really, really busy and don't want to contribute extra, or maybe you are just joined the company and you're just learning everything. All what you do, you get trainings from all the team members, and of course not contributing, and of course you're not getting the profit share. And maybe so it is okay, and it's not supposed to be always, and this is the purpose of profit share, to keep reminding everybody that it is possible to get it, and that there are certain activities which are like bonus activities that should reward you with that.
I also maybe like to add, actually, I didn't mention few more cases. There are some cases exactly like if you are maybe a junior in the team and really 80% of your time goes to learning, even if you're billable for the customer, but you are just learning and you have a very good salary, and you in your role, it doesn't have to be junior, it can be also a mid-level specialist. In your role, you don't actually even have the opportunity to impact this or you don't have any influence to the customer, or sometimes the commitments are designed like this, even if you want to. And sometimes people say, I don't want to talk to the customer, please, just want to develop, please leave me out of everything else, which is also okay. There are some cases when please don't bother me with this profit thing.
I have a very good example. Actually, even today I talked with one of my team members, and I always ask, okay, how it is, like we have one-on-ones monthly. And I mentioned the profit share topic, and I asked, okay, how do you feel about it? And he surprised me with the answer, because like some history, he is a superstar developer. He is very, very good, and he's always giving 100%. And he said that, well, profit share is just another spam into my inbox folder. I see that it is there, and it does nothing to me. I don't care if I get it or not. So for those developers, it's better to have a higher salary, because that's how we reward the person, like people who are always putting 100%. And the profit share should be the factor to motivate people to try harder, to move forward, to try some extra things to do. But if developer doesn't care about that, if they really just want to do the things they are very good at, why should they get it? Like, as I said, the base salary should be higher than.
So I think we have to normalize this, that it's okay too.
Yes.
It's okay too. And we already half an hour and 4 minutes in the discussion, and we have 4 big topics left, but I hope that half an hour going to be enough to cover them. So another spicy one, the impact of profit share system on team finances. If the team is not profitable, it was noticed that it affects not only profits, but in some cases also team finances and what they can do with these finances. So I know we have questions for Sharon as well. I just looked at him, but I have the first question to Rokas. So as far as I know, your team is profitable, but just imagine the case that your team is in minus. And how do you handle this, and how do you get out of this, and knowing that you can't control what you're going to have in half a year, you just can put efforts, but what would you do?
Yeah, that's a tough situation to be from the team lead perspective, but I strongly believe that even if your project is in minus and you're doing the right step into the right direction, you will eventually be in plus. So the base salary of every employee shouldn't change, and we should pay the market price or for the value that developer is delivering. We should pay for that fairly, because this is what developers is earning, and it's not their fault that project is unprofitable at the moment. And I think it's the same with the training budget and with the like team buildings and so on. And I would probably communicate this with my business unit lead and try to have some plans in the future, what to do, how we can survive at the moment with the minus that we have, how much we can invest into the team to have like team buildings, to have training workshops and salaries increases to keep people motivated and happy in the team. Because I don't think it's a good argument to say, yeah, we are in minus, we are not doing anything. Like, it's not gonna work in the long term. It's like a really short-term vision. And TeleSoftas, like, there's no minus in TeleSoftas. Someone needs to cover that minus from somewhere else. So basically, we can talk with other teams, with other business unit leads to see what is the perspective in the near and long future to get out of the minus and how we can invest right now. I would do this.
Just to look for other options.
Yes.
And Elise, Sharon, do you have some insights on how it could be done, how it's been practiced in Helmes if the team is, for example, half a year or 3 quarters in minus? How do they operate with their finances?
I mean, at first, maybe let's open it how it looks on the company balance sheet, because everybody talks about the profit share, but then nobody talks about how the minus is shared. Yeah? So it's actually company really, I mean, at first it depends what kind of assignment it is, but at least in Helmes Estonia, if we have a project in minus, and we have had over the years, like now it's getting better because it's more of the time and material, but we used to have like every second year we had a project or a team that minus was minus 500,000, and we could not get out from the project. So it was kind of like you have to deliver it what you promised. So
it was fixed price projects.
Fixed price projects, and we have had it happening. So actually, company takes care of the minus. People get their salary, everything, or these organized events that are in the company. Everybody's entitled to go there. The sadness of this is, of course, this that actually people who are working in the project that is in the minus, they usually tend to work harder, because the project is in the more difficult situation. And I'm not saying that that the other people are not work hard, but you know, the stress and the environment is definitely more difficult, and then you don't get the profit share. But then again, let's think about the profit share. It's rather let's share the good things and somebody else is helping to share the minus as well. So did I answer the question?
And what do you do with the not the benefits, but the learning budgets, which could be quite
people
big?
can go to the trainings and of course continue going to the Christmas party, summer days, and this is all covered actually. It comes from the overhead definitely, but and what can happen, of course, that in the very tense situations, some of the people leave the company from the projects inside the minus. But yeah, company takes care of the salaries and somebody is taking care of the full minus, not somebody, but the company. Meanwhile, so everybody gets their profit share, the happy teams are getting it, but company helps to cover the minus. But actually minus is also, usually teams work out from the minus in the future, but quite often if it's really dramatic situations, then team leader leaves or the team not dissolves, but something bad happens. So it's the team is disappeared and Helmes takes care of the minus. This is on our case, yeah.
And maybe to add how it is in TeleSoftas, so I hope it doesn't happen anywhere in any teams, but team buildings and trainings is the promise of TeleSoftas, is the promise of the company, and of course you need to be thoughtful about it. It has to, like, I think what was happening before we moved to this the system, that we were spending training budget a bit more freely and without connecting it. Okay, so will it really bring the value for the money that I'm buying? So what is happening now, I think it's more, we have more thought before we spend money on trainings. But if it is a reason why we should go to trainings, I will grow as a professional, we will get this or that project, there should not be a stop. And if you have an issue like that, come to me, I will help, or to your business unit lead. So it shouldn't be the case, and the trainings and team buildings is the company promise.
But I have noticed that actually many of our teams in the difficult financial situations, they don't stop doing the team events, but they do it in the also very fun but simplified formats, because suddenly you have less budget, so grilling at somebody's backyard, playing this Catan or something at home. So it's actually nothing stops, but the people become more like at home. You become more conscious about your spendings.
And sometimes a huge struggle unites people. It just probably depends on how you look at the situation and where you want to go.
Okay, so we're gonna move on with one remark from the happiness survey for Rokas. How do we avoid conflicts of interest? People who approve developer salary are the ones who get much of their income for the profit share. So that's how it works. It creates a reason to keep the base salaries low to increase the profit share of the part for the team lead. So how to avoid such a conflict?
Yeah, that's...
Should I repeat the question? Or
No, it's okay. I understand the question. The thing is, like, this is every company and every team wants to be profitable. And it's just how business goes. Every business wants to pay the proper price for the developer, and developer will always want to get more. It just also, I'm going to the work to get salary, and the company is hiring me for me to bring some value to the company as well. And there is always going to be that balance, because if the team lead is paying too little to the developer, they will leave somewhere else. And if they are paying too much, they will get less for themselves. There is just that balance, and I think it's everywhere in the business that you need to balance that. And if the team lead is doing job poorly, team will start leaving from them, or developers will start leaving, and then it's bad for that team lead. So and for every team lead, the team lead's job is to find that balance, that meeting point, basically.
And to add to Rokas, like, if somebody does like what is said in this question, then he's playing, or she is playing, a very short game. Yes. So you win for that quarter, but next time everything collapses for you. You know, if you are cheating on your own team, like, what kind of team lead you are? Who would like to follow you? What kind of a leader you are? So it's a very short journey.
It ends up really fast. We have seen it as well. I've heard this question, and many years ago. Usually it is issues with the values of the team leader, but it comes out really fast. You know, it comes, HR sees this kind of things, and it comes. Somebody notices.
because we have the company, Vaida has, the whole HR team has the ranges for salary positions. So if somebody falls out of that, it's immediately noticed.
And you mentioned that you kind of had that situation that we are now talking theoretically. So what were the steps? How did you react? What was the future journey of that team lead?
Actually, it ended, we have had it, and it ended as you mentioned, it's going to be a short game. Actually, it's this kind of people, usually they don't cheat to their team leaders, team members only. Usually it's the value issue, and it reflects everywhere. It reflects if you work with your how you work with your customer, how you work with your people. So usually they play themselves out of the company real quickly. So we didn't really have to step in. It was kind of like it ended itself, yeah. One-way ticket. Yeah, and it came out quite quickly. But of course, we have had differences in salaries and so on. We have had HR actually stepping in. Of course, many years ago, we had a salary differences, very famous one in female and the male salary. There was a difference. So we tried to sort this out. And maybe every second year, HR really carefully looks into the levels and the salaries and knocks at somebody's shoulder that, hey, you pay too few. But we also have had that sometimes people pay too much. Team leaders are too immature. I mean, not too much, but they really definitely pay. The team is not doing maybe very well, not the KPIs are not very good, and they are sometimes also overpaying in the being afraid of talking about the fair pay. So I don't know. But yeah, but it doesn't happen often. I'm talking about a very long time. So.
And Sharone, I'd like you to comment on another remark that we received on happiness survey. It was communicated that profit share will be a separate thing, that it will not impact existing things like salary reviews, team buildings, growth expenses, and so on. But the reality is, sometimes it says that sometimes it happens if the team is in the minus and it affects the mentioned. What's your opinion? It's a bit connected to the previous topic I just wanted to raise.
I think I touched a bit on that. But I don't know. I think I remember. I don't know if you have those more questions. But when I read the questions in the happiness survey, I also noticed that profit itself and profit sharing is mixed. So I think what my goal is that team leads are able to talk more and explain more how profits and how profit sharing is working within the team. So I think that it's super important to get all the answers not from this discussion. I think this is just maybe to expand and to encourage everybody to talk about it. But the main purpose is to be open and courageously ask the questions if it's not clear. And for the team leads, if you're not sure, say it, I don't know, and invite the business unit lead. And I think don't avoid these topics and these questions, and be open and transparent about it, and address them actively. And if you are stuck, ask for help, because as we said, we are only 1 year in this, and we are experiencing new situations every quarter. Something that never happens, and then it's lots of questions, and so it is normal, but we will undergo this, and suddenly it will be, everything is the same.
And I think we're not even 1 year in it, if I remember correctly, to all the developers that, development teams, it was on the third quarter, end of the third quarter.
You are very right, you started for the developers, it's only 2 quarters that we are distributing for everybody, so it's very, very fresh, yeah.
And probably...
3 quarters. This was the 3rd quarter.
The
2 last year and 1 year.
2, yeah, 3, okay. For me, I started in January, so for me, it's the whole year.
There was one follow-up question, or more like a statement, that profit is valued way above the well-being. What's your take on that?
Well, it depends how you look at it. Like if you remember what I said in the beginning, the purpose of profit share is, like, you guys were the reason why I was thinking about it. So I think that profit share is to reward everybody who is contributing. So I think it should be part of the well-being. I think I hope it contributes to your well-being, at least the financial part. So for me, it's a bit tricky question, and I can understand where it's coming from, because yes, when you talk about the profits, then maybe this competition things, and then you have some stress, and maybe somebody is unhappy, so it can affect the well-being. So I understand where it's coming from, but if you think about it, it's not like we are aiming to pay the fair salary. So everything that is above that, it's bonus. It's like we are willing to, like as I said in my last quarter presentation, like we are sharing half of the profits that TeleSoftas earns. So I hope you don't think that I want to damage well-being by doing this.
And it feels like that, like people forgot that profit share is an extra thing. Like we're all getting fair salaries for the market, and the profit share just came from nowhere, and we are getting more. No one took anything from us, we are getting more. And if you are not getting profit share because of many reasons, no one took anything from you. You are still getting the same salary. So for you, nothing has changed. Of course, someone is getting, and there is some conflicts, and as you said, there might be some bad feelings about that. But that feeling is temporary, because eventually we'll get profit share. Eventually we'll go there, and
But probably there's one more thing. I think for us, it's also, we must acknowledge that if people are asking it, maybe they're feeling this way. So, but I just ask you also to open up, and maybe we should normalize that. It's sometimes there are situations, but at the end of the day, if we are all just trying and giving our best, like it's supposed to reward us. So. Yeah.
And I also wanted to add that I like that somebody put the profit and well-being in the same sentence, because I mean, when we are inside a company, then every person in the company has to feel well, but company also has to feel well, and profit is one of the indicators that company is not one, but maybe one of the most important ones that should be after the other KPIs, of course, coming after, but the company has to be profitable in order to support these teams who are in the minus. So somebody, I mean, the profit is, it's not only for the well-being of every single employee, but company also has to be healthy. So we all want to be healthy. So.
And guys, if there is no profitability, like we can survive, I don't know how much time, like, because if we are spending more than we are earning, then we cannot last. So, as Elise said, it's a key KPI, it's a key financial KPI to stay healthy as a company.
When Helma's profitability skyrocketed? Do you remember? Do you know? Or it was
I know. I know. It when we did this switch, we were in the middle of the recession, like we are now. Yeah. So it took. It took maybe 1.5 or 2 years after the transition when it, I wouldn't say it skyrocketed, but it has been stably growing all the time. But this switch really transforming the company structure really helped us. And then again, we really didn't look for actually why we did it also, this transition. One was also that we actually got bad employee and customer satisfaction numbers as well. So, or we felt like that it is off. It was not because of the profit we did this structure change. Our main target was employee and customer satisfaction to improve this, and the belief was that profit comes after that. So, but all in all together, to get the KPIs right, it wasn't too long. It was 1.5, 2 years, and we were kind of like moving out from the recession as well, and learning to sell. It was also a little bit difficult.
Yeah. One more year for us.
Yeah, that's inspiring.
But the journey is very similar. We're also now learning to sell, so I think it is similar.
So we're going to touch upon the last topic, so which is, we touched upon it about like a little bit. It's about like how the profit share is supposed to be got. Like what's the opportunities to get it? Because for some people it's not really clear what kind of extra steps, extra move, extra value is supposed to bring or take to the table, and this means to get the profit share. Because you mentioned like you have a list like during this quarter. Would you name a few examples?
Yeah,
Few actions.
the things that I look forward when I looked into when I shared the profit share is what developer did to influence the profitability of the team, to client happiness and employee happiness. So all three pillars that we have, if you touch on any of those, you will get a profit share. So one of the things that developer did, like he saw that there are some systems for the company who are wasting money, basically. He saw that, okay, there's some services that are running, no one is using that, and the company is paying for that. And he informed the company, did some work, did some research that, okay, you probably can shut it down and you will save X amount of money in a month or monthly because you are not using that. And that's direct value for the client. And this is what influenced that. And I know that many people say, but I don't have possibilities or opportunities for that because every team is different. But then I say, okay, when you start a business and you want to be profitable, what you do, like there are many books, but if you read all of them and you follow step by step, you will probably won't be successful because you always need to go different ways and you need to look for opportunities and so on. So it's the same for everyone in the team. You need to look for opportunities. And for example, even if you are stuck in the position where you are working with very huge system and being just a little gear and you cannot influence any decision, you still can organize some, I don't know, team events for the team, like invite someone to have a barbecue or something like that. And then you increase the like employee happiness. That's also the effect that you have on the team. So everything that you are looking for opportunities, thinking outside the box, will influence the profit share.
Okay. Because I also thought when you mentioned you had a list of the actions done, like actions taken to get a profit share, do you think it inspires your team or limits? Because they have a list, okay, like I should do like ABC to get the profit share?
I think it inspires because every quarter is different. So it's not the same. But then they see that, okay, someone is doing something and I can do the same. Not necessarily the same, but look for ideas. What can I do and how can I do that and so on.
And I think, Simona, what Rokos is trying to say that the list is always new. Yes. So the list is not predefined and now you have to do this to be eligible. So it's always, the creativity factor is always there, right, Rokos?
So like I have the list right now that's not shared yet, but like when I hear, even today someone came to me and said, I want to say kudos to that person because he organized infrastructure where we could present demo to the client and we did it way better than we could have done if not that person. So I wrote that into the list and I will share that with the team that you can help other team members to be or to look more successful than otherwise. And it's probably not going to be the same ever. not that idea not going to be shared again, but that's like an idea that you can use up for inspiration.
I would recommend any specialists who have such a question, what can I do to get the profit share? I would really recommend go and talk to your team leader. And if leader, if you feel as a team leader, if you feel like, okay, I don't really know, I'm out of the ideas, what can I do? Because definitely we will discuss different aspects and then team leader can also run out of the ideas, go to the business unit leader. Because actually inside every team, it is very different how you can increase the profit because looking at the very different teams, it's quite often maybe it's the hourly rate, but quite often teams with a very low hourly rate still make more profit than the teams with the high hourly rate. So it's actually maybe it's billable hours. So and of course not to mention all these aspects where you can actually add value to the customer, but have a discussion, ask your team leader.
And for example, in TeleSoftas right now, just one of the examples. So in some cases we have really mature and senior teams. And one of the ways also to affect, this is not the happiness or employee satisfaction measure, but the profitability pillar is accept new teammates into your team who are more junior. But this means that you will have to do more work, you have to cover for him, and most importantly, you will have to convince the customer to take, so because if it's only on the team lead, he most likely will never succeed alone. So they need the support of the team that, okay, we will distribute, I will do it. So, you know, and if you are the team of mids or juniors that is growing, then you can do it by delivering extra value in that rising startup project or whatever it is. So it's very creative depending on the situation, but I think each case has a certain kind of solutions if you look for it.
Think outside the box. And one more for Sharuna. So why it was decided to start profit share with a project everyone from production can only be eligible for it? So only
The
developers.
Yeah, the question is why all the production, like all the people, like not, for example, team leads have the direct contact or business unit leads with the client. Some of the developers have no less contact. So why not just the team leads and the business unit leads? Why you wanted to include the developers as well?
Yeah, but it's exactly the example that I said just before was exactly like that, because in many cases, team lead without the team is powerless. Like he cannot do much, and team lead, he's like a driver, you know. But the car that he's driving is not only the wheels; it's so many things. And if the team members are not alongside, not cooperating, not contributing, then the team lead will never succeed. So it makes sense if we reward the team first, then then we can reward the team, because if the team is not performing, the team lead will get nothing as well. So basically, that's why it's cascading like that. The team lead, the business unit lead. So I think it's also now under our value of collaboration, but this can only work if we collaborate. This is the only way.
And how I also see that if a person puts effort into participating in some external events, being a speaker, putting TeleSoftas name out there, and no, it's not putting the team's name out there, it's TeleSoftas name out there. It creates value for the whole TeleSoftas, and it also it has to be noticed, because it brings value in the higher level. Not
and
maybe
especially now, if our name is visible, seen, we attract more clients interested in us. So of course, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why the criteria are not only focused on your project, your team, your client, but in general, what kind of value do you bring to the company and externally. Yeah. And there are many different ways how to create that external value that could be rewarded in profit share.
Yeah, because before we had cases where people are trying and they're getting the same amount of money, the same salary as people who are working and doing nothing else. And I think that was also very unfair. And I think now we have a mechanism to reward those who care and who do extra.
Let them shine with some extra cash.
Yeah.
So I see that we ran out of our 1 hour. We just finished all our questions. We'll have some time with the people that gathered here on site to discuss more if they'll have more questions, but I think it's time for the wrap-up. Simona, are you ready to do the wrap-up? No?
That's wrap.
Yeah, that's wrap. So we hope that you took something from this discussion, you widen your perspectives on things, and got some answers maybe, or encouragement to ask, to go, to do, and a little bit easier feeling about the profit share and what's the meaning of it. And yeah, I hope people took something from it. I really enjoyed this discussion.
Can I say that one more thing?
Sure.
Just the final. Since I'm also not a team lead, but also from the Pro Council, and I know that every company has some problems, or could potentially have some problems, when people are not being treated properly. Like in some stations where people are, I don't know, for the gender, for their I don't know, seniority, or for color, whatever. So if you have any questions, any issues, you can always come to me or any of the HR or head council. You can work council to talk with us, and we will help you to solve the issues that you have, because the finances is a very sensitive topic, and there is not a one answer to any situation. So we still have that in TeleSoftas. So please feel to come to us to talk.
Thank you, Roka. So
Thank you.
I hope that we will talk more to make a change instead of talking more, to complain or to say that we feel bad. Because if we focus on actually doing the change, it will come. So thank you all for joining us today, and I think we deserve an applause. Cool.